His name again. I want to watch some video here. His name was yeah, the funny guy. He's kind of funny. Let's check Mutaha. Okay. Star Wars Outlaws, yes, it's about that. I will just change my stream info to something like just chatting or something like just chatting right now. RT commenting. Okay, let's go.
Früher hast du mehr mit uns gespielt.
Yeah, okay. I don't have YouTube Premium on this. I don't have even an account on my Edge, so there's some kind of ads, YouTube ads again. But it's not like that bad how it's going on Twitch right now, like when you need to watch like 6 ads in a row. 6 ads, man, in a row. And if you reload your page, you need to watch these 6 ads again. Yeah, from time to time you don't need to do that, but sometimes it happens. So we're skipping that.
Oh, that new Star Wars Outlaws game seems to have come out.
This guy is fun.
And what if I told you that it is mediocre Ubisoft gaming? Mediocre quadruple A gaming. I think it's a quadruple A.
I will not be surprised, actually.
Could be a triple A. Honestly, at this point, I don't know what the difference is other than a storefront. But to be real with you, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen a lot of interesting reviews on the internet. I've seen a lot of YouTubers talk about this game.
It's like IGN.
A lot of people have said, "Ooh, this game's a pile of dog water."
IGN gave this game a 7, man. IGN gave this game a 7.
But I've seen the Metacritic reviews. 77 ain't that bad. It's actually more than okay, alright? Usually a 7 out of 10 game is an okay game. It might be mediocre, but it's not awful. And you can do a lot better than purchasing an actual dog water game, okay? There's plenty of them out there. Have you ever heard of a game called Left Alive? Alright? It's lucky that I was left alive of actual functioning brain matter after playing that title. But you know what? Star Wars Outlaws is one of these recent titles, and I'm going to give it one little bit of praise, okay? This might not sound like much, but when your game is like less than 60 gigabytes in size, I appreciate it, okay? There's a lot of games these days that have to be over 150 gigs and chew up my hard drive, so I'll give them that praise right there. Now, of course, Star Wars Outlaws is like a game in the Star Wars universe that doesn't have anything to do with using the Force or lightsabers or anything of that nature, okay? It has you basically being an outlaw. So you play as an actual outlaw in the game, Vess, who's like, basically thrust into a world of heisting, and they have to basically take the ultimate heist in order to pay their way out and basically live a life free and in actual relative, lavishness, so to speak. That's pretty much where the story goes. It's an open world Star Wars game where they have 5 unique areas. I think it's actually more, 4, maybe 5. I haven't made it that far into the game. I've really just made it to Beyond Mos Eisley, the second actual area. But I think I've played the game enough to give a proper, succinct understanding and review of what you're about to experience. So each of these locations, if you open up the map in the video game, they're pretty sizable locations, like a few like square kilometers spread apart. So there's a fair amount of things to do in each of these locations, and you'll be on like speeder, basically going back and forth between multiple different towns and settlements. So I want to start off by saying, if you're somebody that loves playing video games and getting immersed and basically going on a digital vacation, this game is actually pretty good, okay? Every single town and settlement that I've went to feels alive. It's got people walking around. It's got, stormtroopers, walking around, being stormtroopers. It's got...
I mean, if you want to play a game that feels alive, you can play just Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2. That's all. Why do you need to play this one?
Criminals being criminals and people living in fucking squalor. It is Star Wars to a T. So if you're somebody that enjoys just walking around and experiencing like towns, like if you ever played Red Dead Redemption 2 and you think, man, I really like enjoying like walking around Saint Denis
Yes, Red Dead Redemption 2.
in all these small areas, then I think you'll actually quite enjoy that aspect of this video game. It pretty much is the one thing that really speaks out.
Is it the same level as Red Dead Redemption 2? It's probably not. Like, when we're getting a lot of shorts, YouTube shorts, about what you can do on Red Dead Redemption. And, okay, it's not all the time appropriate, like you're bombing some people or something like that, but the possibility of that makes the game interesting. You can do whatever you want, or almost whatever you want there. Can you do whatever you want here in this game?
In fact, for the most part, if you're somebody that enjoys Star Wars, then you'll probably love all the attention to detail that each of these locations get. Now, I'm not the biggest Star
Probably if you enjoy Star Wars, you enjoy the lightsabers. You don't enjoy just shooting or just stealth mechanics. That's kind of... It's not even working in proper way. It's not a Splinter Cell game.
Star Wars person imaginable. I've watched, the original 3 movies. I hate saying that I watched the prequel trilogies, but I made it through the Trade Federation bullshit. And I've watched the more recent movies. So yeah, I've watched the mainline Star Wars stuff. And there were moments in this that I honestly felt like, yeah, I remember that. I recognize that. I hit the member berries. Like when you walk into Mos Eisley and you can actually see where good old Han Solo fired the shot in the old cantina. That all is actually reflected pretty well in the video game.
Yes, I have a new idea. So, first of all, I had an idea. Can we get actually, so I'm starting my studies, it's just an off topic here. I'm starting my studies in October, and yeah, can we actually get the studies financed so that I can, for example, study, work at the university, and in the evening stream? And will it be enough? Or it's not even possible from the beginning, and you need like your subscriber base kind of big, I don't know, maybe 100 viewers. Anyway, let's cut this off from the stream and we Star Wars Outlaws IGN 7. IGN gave 7. Can we get Star Wars Outlaws? Yes. Let's go with Star Wars Outlaws here.
And if you're somebody that's like a super big Star Wars person, you'll probably be soy jacking at a lot of the actual callbacks that they have. So it actually does appear to be made by a team of developers that give a shit about the Star Wars IP, and it reflects in the environments and the locations you go to. Now, this is where, again, most of my praise is going to stop, alright? Yeah, it looks nice, it looks cool, but let's get to the fucking gameplay, Muda. The gameplay is what matters. So, this is a stealth-oriented action-adventure title. Now, I played a lot of stealth games in my day. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, played some Metal Gear Solid 3, played some Thief. Alright, I played the best of the best. And I'll tell you something right now. I'm going to play a clip for you right here. This is an Imperial base, okay? You've got 3 stormtroopers guarding the front of said base. Now, the stealth is so good in this game that you can basically just sneak through the front door, beeline it to your objective.
So, it's like a stealth game that you can just do that? Yeah, they're not even patrolling there.
And not a single soul in sight will stop you. So, I thought, whoa, maybe I'm not playing on a hard enough difficulty. No, I was playing on like the second hardest difficulty, okay? There was maybe one option above, but there was nothing that was going to alter the artificial intelligence into actually, doing anything in my favor. Now, again, or anything in their favor. So when it comes to the actual stealth mechanics, it is about as impressive as stealth as something you'd find in an Uncharted game from PlayStation 3 days. And no, I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic. It literally feels like the actual stealth gameplay taken from Uncharted. In fact, most of the actual gameplay, when you're traversing, when you're shooting, when you're
Okay, we have YT ads. Wonderful.
comes from Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4. In fact, I honestly feel that this was probably developed in a way by Naughty Dog. It's a really fun movie game, but when it comes to the stealth and the stealth action gameplay, you're not going to get anything that resembles Splinter Cell.
I mean, Naughty Dog, funny game. Uncharted might be considered as funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But if you're talking about the how's it called, the game with the girl and this Lolita story, the girl and the guy, the small girl and the big man. I forgot the name. You know what I'm talking about. This game is completely not funny. It's very dramatic, and the ending is sad. The first part, second part, I didn't even finish. The Last of Us, yeah, The Last of Us, exactly.
Or, you know, the light and dark gameplay of Thief, or you're not going to get anything that, you know, reflects anything tangible in terms. If you're a stealth action gamer, this is not going to be something for you. This is like more a casual gamer's idea of what stealth action is. Now, when it comes to actual, you know, physical shooting combat, there is only a few options you have. So you can go hand to hand, fist to fist, which, yeah, that's fine. You got the blaster, which you can upgrade with multiple different things throughout the course of the game, which that is the only weapon you are allowed to keep on you at any given moment. Now, you can pick up blasters and sniper rifles from around the battlefield and use them, and they're really fun to use. The only key problem with that is you can't carry them everywhere. So whenever you got to interact with a ladder or go into like a vent, you somehow lose the capacity to bring a weapon with you. Now,
I mean, I don't understand also that. Why? Like, okay, maybe the main idea you should use, but it's kind of boring. If you have only one gun for the whole game of 100 hours, and you can't take any other guns and update them, upgrade them, that's really boring, man. If you have only one gun, maybe you can upgrade it somehow, maybe not, I don't know. But even if you upgrade it, it shoots completely the similar way. And how many guns do they have anyway there are? Like 3-4 guns, except the main one? What kind of that? And you should play 100 hours this game? How much? It's okay maybe for 3 hours, but... Okay, 8 hours. But 8 hours game for... How much it cost? $110?
I don't know in Outlaw School if they didn't teach you that you can bring stuff with you, but yeah, it just takes... It makes no real sense why an outlaw such as myself can't just sling the blaster on my back and run with it as an extra weapon to have. I don't know why I can't even deploy with a weapon, or I can't even bring one and customize it. Because it would be, they have all these different weapons. They have grenade launchers, sniper rifles, blasters. You can't just bring them with you and use them or even customize them to an extent. So, you know, I'm not expecting Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain levels of gameplay here, but goddamn.
Why are you not expecting that? The game costs $110. How much does it cost actually? Let's check that. Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft. Let's go on to the official page. One of the best Star Wars games. And that's one of the best Star Wars games. Okay, one of the best. That's kind of broad definition. So if you want to buy that, how much will it cost? You either pay $18, 18 euros a month, or you get a It's $130 even, man. It's not 120. Okay. On the basic game, it just costs $70. Season pass. Why do you need season pass for? It will have add-ons, yeah. For artbook you're paying extra, yeah. I don't know. I don't understand that. So the difference between these two, between the Ultimate Edition and Gold Edition, is like a digital art book, and you get some skins for the single player game or whatever, and you need to pay $20 extra, 20 euros. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're not expecting the level that had Metal Gear Solid, but you're expecting to pay twice as much as Metal Gear Solid was at the time, and Metal Gear Solid probably costs much less right now. Maybe you can get it with a discount, like for $10, or even play it for free or some service. That's strange.
At least let me have the option. If I want to go loud, I should be able to go loud. So aside
Yeah,
from that,
that's
they've
true.
got a ship section where you have some base.
I agree. If you want to go loud, then you should be able to go loud. Why are you restricted to stealth? And that means that you need to play all the hours only using the stealth mode and not the loud mode. And the loud mode is anyway not interesting because you just can't carry a gun with you, even during one mission.
Basic ship maneuvering and combat in space, but it's nothing too terribly exciting in my opinion. Like, it's about as riveting as No Man's Sky combat, which is basically latch onto an item or enemy, hold a targeting computer, and just basically pew 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 win a battle. Now there is a wanted system in the video game, so yeah, because it's a crime game, you can get hunted by the Imperials. You can get hunted by the Galactic Federation, the Galactic Imperial group. And the thing about it is, so the wanted rating works like this. It gives you a giant thing that says you're being hunted, you're being wanted, whatever. On the top left, you have basically the Galactic Empire's logo that fills up quadrants as you get more hunted. And I believe, my experience, by the time you get to the last stages on the ground, they can actually send a death squad after you. And that goes for all the other gangs that you piss off and make friends with in the games. So it's pretty cool. I will say, on the harder difficulties, it is an absolute nuisance to get rid of any of these wanted ratings. It's actually easier to just die, lose a little bit of your money, and just come back into the game. It just becomes that annoying. I don't know why, but trying to lose the Empire, even though that they weren't chasing me at certain points, it just was not cooling down. Now, when it comes to a game known as Star Wars Outlaws, what I find really insane is you can't really be killing civilians. Now, I'm not asking for Grand Theft Auto 5 in space, but if you're going to give me the option to be a criminal, why can't I rob the innocent? Why can't I make fat stacks being an actual outlaw? I get the game is rated T for T.
Because of the main character. If you have this main character here, then you can't just go and kill civilians. It's not possible, man.
So maybe they couldn't get away with just shooting a goddamn alien straight in the face and Mos Eisley. But don't try to bill your game like this if you don't give me basic, freedoms to do so. I mean, literally, you cannot steal from anyone that isn't a criminal or, somebody that belongs to the Galactic Empire. And I think that has more to do with the fact that they want your character to be this overall net good. But, I mean, if you're making a game about crime, you should at least give me the option to commit fucking crimes.
Yeah, that's true. If you're making a game about crime and criminals, so outlaws, criminals, then you should be able to do that. In Red Dead Redemption you can choose who to be, and you are playing as a criminal, you can do everything as a criminal. You can rob the banks, you can rob the trains, you can kill civilians, you can do whatever you want, man. And here you're playing as an outlaw, but you can't do that. It doesn't even make sense.
I would say. When it comes to the actual gameplay, it is about as standard Ubisoft open world as you're going to get, but it is the better of the Ubisoft open worlds. So alongside your actual main missions, you're going to have a bunch of side stuff, collectathon checklists to go after, but it seems like every big upgrade or something is tied.
Am I the only person that doesn't want to collect all this stuff? I mean, yeah, it's like collecting 50 or 100 of badges that are placed on some kind of random places where you don't even want to go, and you need to do that to get all the accomplishment finished. What a nice opportunity. Maybe you can get something extra special, but not an achievement, and not like doing something for that, not like these notifications here, like yellow ones, so that you definitely need to accomplish that and waste your time on collecting these 500 useless medallions or something.
Behind a lore reason, and there's, you know, actual thought and cutscenes put towards things, so it doesn't feel like you're just checking things off. It really feels like every single thing you're hunting down actually ties into a loop and actually upgrades specific items. So that is something I do enjoy seeing. It is ultimately still a Ubisoft open world, but I think it's the better of the Ubisoft open worlds because every single item that I end up finding gives me a reason to go hunt it down. Even if I don't need to upgrade that specific item, I at least like.
This kind of looks nice. The whole stuff that's located here. I don't particularly like the colors, and as I see from this review that all the colors are kind of yellowish. It's maybe all the time the desert, but I don't want to play the desert all the time. That's annoying. That's not so good like it was in Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk I consider much better game and much better visuals, but yeah.
Like to go and see the lore and the storyline and the quest attached to said item because it is genuinely well fitting in the Star Wars universe. When it comes to progression in the game, instead of a leveling system, thank God, they have something where basically you find these legendary contacts that give you special abilities like slicers, like better gunfighting abilities, better speeder abilities, and the way to level up these abilities.
That looks like, as I remember, the Assassin's Creed. What was that? After Odyssey, Valhalla. Valhalla was kind of nice. I didn't finish that. I've played maybe like 50 hours, but it was pretty nice. It had some annoying mechanics when you need to get these outposts done, but it wasn't so annoying like in Assassin's Creed 3 or 4, I suppose, where you need to do a lot of similar ones, or in Far Cry.
Abilities is to actually complete challenges that pertain to these actual abilities. I'm saying abilities a lot, but I prefer this kind of a leveling system, this progression mechanic, because like I at least want to feel that if I want to get better at hacking in a video game, I should probably be hacking a bunch of times and then leveling up that specific tree that way versus arbitrarily raising an amount of experience points by like gunning down people for like 8 hours and then just investing those skill points not in the assault trees but in all the stealth stuff. Like at least make me do stealth so my character progresses in the stealth field. So I do enjoy it like that. And honestly, it leads to something which I enjoy even more, where you can actually play through the game at a pace you enjoy, not locked behind some level gaining nonsense where you have to level up like 5 times in order to match up to a certain group of enemies you're going up against. The game prioritizes stealth, and it knows with stealth, one-hit takedowns are pretty much your bread and butter, so there's no way that they can implement a leveling system without making it feel like a cheap nonsense shooter to begin with. So I do appreciate all of that going in forward, okay?
Now, something this game does is it has a criminal network reputation system. So you got 3 groups, the Pike Syndicate, Crimson Dawn, and the Hutt Cartel. And you got to balance your respect between each.
Criminal network reputation, Hutt Cartel. Poor. Crimson Dawn, good. Pike Syndicate, poor. Okay.
to them. And I feel like this is an interesting play on a feature literally from Grand Theft Auto 2 back in the PlayStation 1, where per level you actually had 3 different criminal groups that you were actually trying to favor. So in order to do a mission for one, you had to be in their good graces, but being in the good graces of one meant losing the respect of the other. So you had to balance the respectometer in order to actually not get killed on the street and be able to complete the entire mission. So I feel like this is a kind of a nod to that, and yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. The other thing was the big part of this game is using Nyx, which is this like critter sidekick you have to steal and do things from a distance. So when you're attacking,
Oh man, this GTA game was fun. I was playing this game, I don't remember which one was that, 2 or first one. Yeah, that's really cool. That was really fun. You don't need to think about anything except for these ratings. You just go on a mission. You die kind of a lot as well, because everybody is shooting all the time, and you see the gun here. You just go there, pick up the gun. After that, the GTA 3 was, yeah, it was something new. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was third-person shooter. It was really interesting.
which is this like critter sidekick you have to steal and do things from a distance. So when you're attacking somebody, you can tell this critter to attack. You can tell Nyx to steal items or pickpocket people or blow things up, which is cool until you realize.
So, I have one question. Do they even have blood there? So, I mean, this hit, look at
Things from a distance. So when you're attacking somebody, you can tell this critter to
the
attack.
attack. So, she's so strong. Okay. She hits his head. And he just falls down.
You can tell Nyx to steal items or pickpocket people or blow things up, which is cool until you realize that, yeah, this is just Shadow from Dead to Rights 2, the dog that you can send to grab guns and kill.
Dead to Rights, I don't remember if I played that one. I think yes, because of the dog, and it was kind of cool when I was a child. But Dead to Rights, probably yes. I don't remember if you could have played that with your friends, because there was some game that we played together. Maybe it's this one, maybe it's another one.
Kill people and be your sidekick. So, again, being a gamer that has played so many video games in my time, nothing that I've seen here is so uniquely
It's like
handled.
Max Payne
But
mechanics.
it's not bad. It's just nothing that's going to blow my mind.
Slow
But
mo.
ultimately, the last part of this video, the final piece that I really want to discuss, and one thing that I really think needs to be addressed by the developers, is the severe performance issues on PC. Now, this game is a game with forced ray tracing, meaning you can't turn it off. From what I understand, you actually need a ray tracing card to play this game.
Why do you
period.
do that?
Now, the thing is, on lower settings, it'll be fine. But if you have
Why do you do that forced ray tracing? I mean, I have a pretty nice video card. It's 3080. And my 3080, if I'm playing any game with ray tracing, I'm turning ray tracing off almost all the time. Because with this ray tracing option on, I'm getting around maybe maximum of 60 FPS. I don't want to play with 60 FPS. It's not smooth enough. If you have a normal monitor which gives you at least 120 or 140 FPS, so can show that. I mean, so it's about the heads, I suppose. How it's called, renewal rate, yeah, or something like that on the monitor. Then everything looks much smoother, and if you turn ray tracing, your FPS drops by significant amount. Drops maybe more than at least 50%. Even if you use DLSS and even if you use like some kind of artificial intelligence ray tracing or something like that, or not ray tracing everything, like maybe the lights only, even in this case, your FPS drops. That's why I'm turning the ray tracing most of the time off. Maybe I'm playing around looking at the ray traced objects just to see how it looks like and how beautiful it is, etc. But I don't really need this in game, especially if it's on Unreal Engine 5. Then it has a lumen option, and lumen option doesn't require any ray tracing from a video card. So
have a higher end PC like me running the game on higher settings, ultra settings, I don't really think ultimately provides you much of a benefit. With all of the ray tracing settings enabled, I still managed to find some aspects of the game's ray tracing where like it just didn't even feel like it was working. For instance, I was able to see screen space
I suppose they just didn't want to color their game, that's all. That's why it's forced ray tracing, actually, to be honest with you. They're just because if you don't have a ray tracing, you need to color your game in appropriate way, so it depends on where the sun is, where you're looking at, where you're getting out from, like from a dark place to a light place, etc. Everything should be changed according to that, and everything should be colored, pictured in appropriate way. And these guys is like, okay, we don't want to do that, let's just turn ray tracing on, that's all. And they're using their own engine, they are not using Unreal 5. That means that they can't use any option as Lumen there to do it on a software level. And probably their engine is just bad. That's all.
reflection artifacting, like literally a few feet away from my character. Normally, what you're seeing here with like this red doorway shouldn't be happening. Basically, my character is getting in the way of the red doorway, and it's basically making the actual reflection around her legs look broken. And
That's not a reflection. That's a problem.
typically a sign of screen space reflection stuff. If this was actual ray tracing, this artifacting and visual noise wouldn't be an issue. But I've seen this constantly throughout the game.
The water here and the grass, that looks awesome, man. I would love that.
So I'm wondering, is the ray tracing actually even working, or is it just consuming frames for no reason? Even with the RTX DI mode, which is like their path tracer or their more extreme ray tracer, I still see these issues. And look, no one's denying the game looks good. But honestly, at this point, I would say Cyberpunk 2077 looks as good, not as good, actually light years better than this game. That actually looks like a real ray tracing showcase. And I'm somebody that loves talking about ray tracing. I think that games like Doom 2 ray tracing look absolutely brilliant and are a real showcase for the technology. Something like Star Wars just feels like it's actually chewing through my system for no real reason. And honestly, that isn't even including the fact that in order to get the frame rate I'm showing you, I have to enable all forms of assists. So I have to get ray reconstruction on, and then I have to enable frame generation, which generates fake frames in order to make the game reach 60, 70 frames per second. So in reality, without any of these assists, you're looking at my 4090 running the game at around 4K with like 30 frames. And that's with DLSS, which runs the game at lower resolutions and upscales them through AI. So if I have to go through...
Wait, 4090 running the game with DLSS on 30 frames? That's bad. If you just go and play Red Dead Redemption, it looks much better. Red Dead Redemption. The game is like 4 years old, maybe even more. And the game looks stunning. And despite of looking stunning, the game runs on my 3080 with around 120 FPS. I suppose on maximal settings, something like that.
Through all of that just for this performance, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
it makes no
honestly,
sense.
Just for comparison's sake, I decided to put on Star
It's
Wars
just engine problem.
Jedi Survivor on the PlayStation 5. And
I mean, instead of using their own engine, they could have taken like Unity or Unreal Engine or Godot at least, if they don't want to pay for that. But yeah, for For what reason they want their own engine? To sell that? Who will buy this engine?
And even just on the cinematic mode with Coruscant, the initial city, it looked light years better than whatever this game
Yeah.
is bringing to the
Just look at that. This game looks better than the Star Wars
table.
Outlaws.
So whatever performance I'm getting is not indicative
Also, ray
of
tracing
the
probably is
actual,
here on.
game's visual look. It just doesn't make like the game looks good. It just doesn't look good enough to warrant the performance. I would go as far as to say games like Red Dead Redemption 2 look way better than Star Wars.
Yes, Red Dead Redemption, even on their lowest settings, look. Maybe it's not. No, it looks actually better because of the landscapes that we have there. We have different landscapes there, and if you travel through these landscapes without ray tracing, without anything, it looks better than this game. If you turn everything to their maximum settings, then it will be much, way better than the Star Wars Outlaws.
Star Wars Outlaws, but somehow consume far less of the resources on my system. I
Yep.
would say that there's plenty of other titles like Cyberpunk 2077 that are worthy of the same performance profile this game forces you to.
Can we even talk about Cyberpunk? Cyberpunk is excellent in ways of how graphics looks. Cyberpunk is amazing.
Be at, but look way better and are designed way better for the style that
Yep.
the game wants to promote. But ultimately, at the end,
Maybe not Star Wars. Maybe the Cyberpunk 2077 is their most good-looking game right now. So I mean, you can like different stuff. You can like Cyberpunk stuff, or you can like Red Dead Redemption, like landscapes, etc. But in terms of visuals, Cyberpunk, and in terms of the technology used, Cyberpunk is probably the best game in this way.
Star Wars Outlaws is, without a doubt, one of the more mediocre games that I've played. It's probably the better Ubisoft game that I've seen, but that's not saying much. And look, at the end of the day,
I don't think it's a better Ubisoft game. Like I like the visuals of Valhalla better, more than their Star Wars Outlaws.
should you pick this game up from Ubisoft? Probably not. I would actually say that you should wait for a sale, a big sale, or buy it used. Actually buy it used. Hurt Ubisoft's bottom line, okay? Tell them to stop killing games in a lot of ways. If you gotta buy this game, buy it for PlayStation or Xbox, buy like a used physical copy, so it hurts them in the sales, I guess.
It will not hurt them, and so it's kind of a difficult question because you're spending money on the game anyway. So it's like if you're buying a used game and you're paying 50% of that, what it costs right now, and it costs like $130, you're paying $60 for the game. Another person pays also $60 for the game. It's like three people bought it for $60. Two people bought it for $60, or like three people bought it for $40. I don't think this game costs even $40, to be honest with you.
Honest to God, I really do mean that, especially for a company like Ubisoft. Have your fucking cake and eat it too. But yeah, this is Star Wars Outlaws, and I've been playing this game for the last couple days, and I've had a lot of stuff to say about it. But yeah, I don't want to jump on the hate bandwagon and say this is the worst game ever made, because it really isn't. But is it a game that's like this 10 out of 10 experience?
Nobody tells you the worst game ever made. No, it's not the worst game ever made. It's just a below average probably game ever made, or average game. But it's not 7. Maybe it's like 5 out of 10.
That some of the Redditors are kind of like touting it as? I think that's also copium. Let's just keep it what it is. It's a serviceable open world Ubisoft title.
What's about the story, by the way? I don't know what's the story about and how interesting is it. I mean, if the story is interesting, you can play this game and it will be enjoyable and yeah, entertaining. But if the story is bad, doesn't matter. No graphics will help you.
And it's going to be a great sale game a month from now. Because honestly, that's when it's going to start hitting some sales. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan and you just want to explore the universe, I think they did a pretty good job. I think honestly, if you gave this development team enough time and resources, another crack at it, you could probably see like a seriously amazing Knights of the Old Republic.
No, you will not see that. Ubisoft probably spent $200 million on this game, or $100 million, I don't care. But the thing is, the problem with this game is it has no idea. If you want to make a game about the Outlaws, you should be able to play as an outlaw. So you should be able to do whatever with civilians, I would say. Like it's done on Red Dead Redemption. But you can't do that here. If it's Star Wars game, you need to have a lightsaber on. You don't have lightsaber here. So it's just a random game in a Star Wars setting, and that's mostly all about that. I consider that even boring when you play Star Wars game and you can't use a lightsaber. If I want to play a Star Wars game, I want to use a lightsaber.
Game being made from them. But that's a whole different story for a different time. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it, I am out.